this legend, I am discussing one specific story of Connemara, one specific legend, and that's the story of Alcock and Brown. And Alcock and Brown were two British pilots who made the first non-stop transatlantic flight from the Americas to Europe, and they crash landed here in Connemara. So it was in June in 1919 that Alcock and Brown made the first flight from the Americas. They took off from St. John's in Newfoundland, and less than 16 hours later, crossing some really harsh conditions, they crash landed just outside Clifton. And the little icon up here is one of the monuments to mark this momentous occasion. And what essentially happened was these guys were flying over. They were hoping to make it the whole way to London, how they were going to win a prize. The Daily Mail were offering a prize for the first pilot or aviator who could fly from the Americas, Canada, United States, and fly from there all the way over to Europe. And of course, Ireland, west of Ireland, is Europe. And as we're flying over here, as I'll just show you here, this is what remains of the condenser house, the station's transmitter, which was used for transmitting signals back in the day. And the boys attempted to fly over this site to get some attention, and of course they mistook the ground back here to be a nice greenfield landing site. But unfortunately, they made a very wrong mistake, because this is all boggy, and when the plane came down to a land, it sunk into the ground and crashed. So not a bad crash. They weren't injured or anything like that, but it makes for a better story than if it was a smooth flight down. Now, we would cringe at the idea of a 16-hour flight, but in 1919, in the early 1900s, this was incredible, because to put this into perspective, 2 weeks previous, the US military decided to fly from America to Europe, and it took them 23 days, 6 stopovers, and multiple planes. So a non-stop transatlantic flight was just not heard of. So Alcock and Brown's achievement was incredible. And the flight was certainly not business class Emirates. It was a really tough flight. Although the flight took off from Newfoundland relatively problem-free, it wasn't long before they started facing some problems. For example, their electric generator blew out, and as a result they had no heating, they had no communications, both away from their plane or between the two of them. And on top of that, the exhaust burst, which created this really loud noise, making it incredibly difficult to talk and to communicate with the two pilots. On top of that, weather conditions was just harsh. They flew into a storm. They nearly nosedived into the Atlantic twice, I believe. And finally, when they reached Ireland, they were faced with this weather: miserable, hungry, and cold. So why did they do that? It was a competition. The Daily Mail in London offered the first aviator to cross the Atlantic £10,000. And yes, of course, they were going to do that challenge. So I have more detail on the competition, Alcock and Brown, and the general plane itself on my blog. So when this video is over, go check it out. I really recommend it. It's actually an incredible story. One other fun fact about the flight is Alcock and Brown carried some post to deliver over to the UK. So this flight was actually the world's first transatlantic mail flight. Just an FYI.
That'll do it for this week. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I will be back next week with another legend, so make sure you subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit that little notification bell to hear when the video drops. Until next week, bye!